So this is the illustration which was very kindly marked up by the client, and I need to move, basically I need to adjust this catheter as it appears inside the heart. I built this in ZBrush, and this is the actual render as it comes out, and the vignetting and the blurring, because this is in focus, and you look over here, it's out of focus. That's all handled by BPR filters. I've got separate tutorials that teach you how to do that. But what I wanted to show you was use of the Gizmo tool. So if we turn on scale, move, or rotate, we get this, and I'm just going to scrub back through the timeline on that. Well, actually, let me turn off the heart. Yeah, because this is how I did it. Yeah. And then if I go back through the timeline, go back to the beginning, this is it in its normal state. So this is it straight up and down, right? And then turn perspective off. And so what I did was I have transparency on, and I think I turned ghost on too, because it makes it a little easier to see. Then basically all you do is with it straight up and down, you enter the gizmo and come down here and click on, I'm not going to do it because it'll ruin the timeline, I'm afraid. So if you click on that and say bend curve, and basically what it does, it gives you these dots. And so first I just repositioned it using the gizmo. I rotated it, just grabbing this little ring right here and rotated it into position. So, and you want to do all these adjustments from 3 cardinal views: anterior, lateral, and inferior. So this is posterior, same as anterior. This is lateral, and this is inferior. And if you line up each point based on all 3 of those, you should be inside. You should be able to position it very accurately. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you this from the optimal angle, basically the view at which this is the view at which we're going to see this thing, but know that when I'm making any of these adjustments, I'm doing it from all the angles at once. So I'll make a bunch of changes from the anterior view and then the posterior view, and I'm just positioning this into place. So if we come in here and say, so let me do this. So go back here. So this is it at the beginning, and then I enter the gizmo mode. I say bend curve, and then I come in here and you can drag this orange cone at the end here, which is hard to see. This one right here. If you drag that up and down, I can't do it because it'll ruin the history palette. It'll add or remove points. And so basically I use fewer points to get basically, wherever the points are that are given to me, I put them in the right position. And then I go through and I add another series of points and I move those points into position. And you can see pretty quickly how that works, and I end up with a lot of points there at the end. And the reason I had to end so many points is I needed this tight curve right here, and I needed that last handle. That's really what it is, a handle right there to achieve that. And so if I drag the curve, so that's where we ended up. And if I get out of the gizmo mode and I turn off transparency, I turn on dynamic perspective, and I go back to our camera, which is this, and then I'm going to turn our heart back on, and I'm going to render, and that's where we are. That's what we end up with. And that's just about right. I think this gets the client what they're looking for. There's some other things that I'm going to change, but I just wanted to show that and say that you also, you could definitely do this in Cinema 4D using the spline wrap feature. And each of these has some advantages. I liked the render that I got out of ZBrush as the end product better than what I could get from the same amount of effort in Cinema. Part of that's my familiarity with ZBrush, and part of it are the tools inherent to ZBrush. Like I can put this very nice little stroke around everything using the material palette and the mixer. So this is what controls that stroke there. And that really helps me because it gives presence, and it's basically the style that I would have in my regular illustration, my other illustration work. And so I'm very happy to have that in ZBrush. Anyhow, so that's where we are, and that's how I made this image. And let's see here. And it's not that it's, you could do all of this in Cinema 4D using the spline wrap. One of the things that I really like about this is my ability to visualize where this thing is in space. I find it a little harder to do in cinema, and also I can render it, and it renders so fast. I mean, look at this. It renders just really fast. And that's the render that I use in the final. So I'm very happy to be able to have those tools. Anyhow, that's that, and it's a short little video showing how we can use the bend deformers and the Gizmo tool in ZBrush to manipulate things like catheters. Anyhow, that's it. Thank you.